Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video we're taking a look at a team in the Halloween Cup that can only be described as disgustingly tanky. The team consists of a Mandibuzz on the lead, running Air Slash instead of the typical Snarl. We have SWALOT as the safe switch with its new fast move of Mud Shot, and as the closer, Toxapex. These are 3 of the top 10 bulkiest Pokemon in the entire format, so nearly every game with this team goes to timeout. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches, and let's take a look at this disgustingly tanky team in the Halloween Cup. Hopping into the first match, and we see a tough lead Mandibuzz into Pawniard. Pawniard is going to be resisting all of Mandibuzz's moveset, which does make this matchup awkward for the Mandibuzz. However, due to the massive stat product difference between Pawniard and Mandibuzz, Mandibuzz can do surprisingly okay here. I'm farming up and I'm going for the foul play. Typically on Mandibuzz, Dark Pulse is preferred over foul play. I just have almost no charge TMs right now, so I wasn't willing to try and get that move. They're going for another Iron Head. I'm going to save the energy, save switch into SWALOT, and my opponent is going to respond with Toxicroak. Despite the fact that Toxicroak can hit for super effective damage with Mud Bomb, this is a surprisingly okay matchup for SWALOT. As you can see, the Mud Bomb does not do a ton of damage. I'm farming up and going for the Ice Beam just before they make their next Mud Bomb. Ice Beam gets the Toxicroak low, and now I can just go for a 1-shield farm down, win switch advantage, and leave with energy to threaten whatever my opponent decides to send in. Down goes the Toxicroak in the back. It's Golbat, and this is where the coverage on SWALOT is clutch. Ice Beam will grab the shield from the Golbat. I continue to farm, and I make it to another Ice Beam. This is going to hit for massive super effective damage, so my opponent is going to expend the final shield, and now I send in Toxapex. This is not a good matchup for Toxapex, but I have a shield advantage, and with a shield advantage, I should be in a better situation. I continue to farm with the Toxapex. I'm going for the Brine. This will not come close to KOing, but it does some very valuable damage onto the Golbat. Golbat. Shadow Ball, not going to knock out from here. Golbat is going to go for the Poison Fang into the Shadow Ball and hope that that's enough to KO. But guess what? This team is too bulky. Shadow Ball, even when debuffed, that's perfectly fine. Opponent sends in Pawniard, and I'm going for the Brine right away. Brine is going to get the Pawniard low. I get the farm down. That's massive. I look to switch into Mandibuzz, and I have the stored energy from earlier. Foul play onto the Golbat, plus 1 more Air Slash will secure the win. Hopping into the next man, switching Mandibuzz into Toxapex, and oh my goodness, this is already looking like a timeout game. Mandibuzz into Toxapex, the battle of the bulk. I'm staying in this matchup and going for the foul play. Foul play will deal some okay chip damage onto the Toxapex. I'm going to farm up 2 Air Slashes, wait a turn, and get the catch of what should hopefully be the Sludge Wave onto SWALOT, and it is. So I waste my opponent's energy, and now they send in Shadow Golbat. I'm going to be able to outpace the Golbat, make the Ice Beam before they make the Shadow Ball. Ice Beam will hit for massive super effective damage onto the Golbat, and at this point, I'm fine with just letting SWALOT go. So I'm just going to let this through. Opponent baits with a Poison Fang, and they go for another Poison Fang. Even though I'm debuffed, this is not going to KO. SWALOT, as I mentioned, is very, very bulky. SWALOT is the glassiest Pokemon on this team, which isn't saying much because the entire team is absurdly bulky. My opponent sends in Toxapex. I don't want to get farmed down, so I'm going to pivot into my own Toxapex. In the back, it's Jellicent, and it's a bit unfortunate that I gave up switch here, as Jellicent, of course, would get absolutely destroyed by the Mandibuzz. I go for the Sludge Wave into the Jellicent. That actually does a surprisingly decent amount of damage for being a resistant move. They go for the Shadow Ball. Again, it's amazing how bulky this team is. Shadow Ball, pretty good move, and Toxapex just shrugs it off. Sludge Wave number 2, and despite the fact that Toxapex is walled in this matchup, Toxapex nearly KO'd the Jellicent. They go for the Shadow Ball, and now I can send in the Mandibuzz. They're firing off a Surf, that's perfectly fine. Their switch clock should be up soon, there it is. In comes the Toxapex, and I'm baiting here with the cheaper Aerial Ace. Aerial Ace is going to be shielded by my opponent. My opponent throws on alignment, giving Mandibuzz an entire Air Slash for free. That is a costly mistake by my opponent, and they do it again. I now have 2 free Air Slashes in this game. That is incredibly good. I'm farming up, and I'm going for the foul play now. Foul play, of course, will hit harder than an Aerial Ace. My opponent is going to commit the shield. I continue to farm with the Mandibuzz. I make it to the foul play. This should come very close to KOing. Foul play barely does not, so I switch into the SWALOT, getting the last second catch of the Brine. I can send back in the Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz farms down down the Jellicent and farms down the Toxapex, and we take that game. Disaster strikes in the next match as I lead Mandibuzz into Carbink. This is an absolute wall to Mandibuzz, so I save switch into SWALOT, and my opponent is going to send in their own Mandibuzz. This is where having Ice Beam is incredibly nice for all these flyers. The flyers double resist the Mud Shot, but that's where the Ice Beam is just amazing. They're going for the foul play here. Foul play just does nothing to SWALOT. Again, SWALOT is the glassiest Pokemon on this team, but that is not saying much. The bulk on this team is genuinely just stupid. They're going to be firing off the foul play. Foul play, again, not a problem for SWALOT. I think I might honestly live another foul play as well, so I'm just going to let this go. My opponent goes for the Aerial Ace. That definitely will not KO, and now I can force either Switch Advantage or a Shield with the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb will be shielded. Mandibuzz looking for the farm down, and SWALOT refusing to get KO'd, able to make it to the Sludge Bomb. Sludge Bomb forces the shield. I'm going to get farmed down here. I send in my Mandibuzz. My opponent saves their Mandibuzz for later and brings in Toxapex. And this is genuinely worrisome. The good news is I now have Switch Advantage. The Carbink is no longer against the Mandibuzz, but since they have all three Pokemon alive, if this comes down to a timeout, I'm probably not going to win. Toxapex, no baits, going for the Sludge Wave. That does quite a lot of damage onto the Mandibuzz. I'm just looking to get as much damage as I possibly can with this Mandibuzz. Foul play is going to connect. I continue to farm. Opponent firing off the charge move. I decide to call the Brine here. Opponent does not bait. Mandibuzz gets KO'd. I have a 2-shield Toxapex, and it needs to KO their entire team. I can tank whatever they throw here. This is not going to be a problem, but what is going to be a problem is, again, going to be that match timer. They send in the Carbink. They still have all three Pokemon alive. If this match could go on for like 7 minutes, I would probably win, but it can't, and that's a problem. With my opponent having all their Pokemon alive, it's looking like I am probably not going to be the winner of this game. In the battle of bulk, my opponent seems to have the edge. They're firing off a charge move with the Carbink. I'm committing the shield on the Rock Slide. I continue to farm. I go for the Brine. This appears to be the CMP tie, so I need this to KO. But the Carbink hangs on, and that should be game over. Mandibuzz has energy, and Mandibuzz should be able to reach 2 charge moves. In comes the Mandibuzz. They're firing off a charge move. Mandibuzz goes for the Aerial Ace, looking to farm down as the match timer runs down. But the Mandibuzz on 1 HP makes the Aerial Ace, and they win that game. Timeout losses always feel so rough, so we're looking for redemption in the next match, and what a great lead. Air Slash Mandibuzz into Toxicroak. Opponent save switches into Toxapex. I'm looking to go for the foul play here to get some chip damage, and then I'm just going to bring in my own Toxapex. This is a very similar strategy to how people play Lickitung save switches in the Open Great League. Lickitung and Toxapex are both absurdly bulky, so if you have one of your own in the back, if you can get some chip damage, enough health disadvantage so that way they're not going to be able to flip it, you can just send in your own Toxapex or an Open Great League own Lickitung, and your opponent can't really ever make a play for Switch. They're going to be firing off Sludge Wave after Sludge Wave, and it's not going to matter. My Toxapex is absolutely in the driver's seat here. I continue to farm. Maybe a Brine would have KO'd. Honestly, it probably wouldn't have. Brine is a terrible move. Sludge Wave will secure the KO, however. In comes the Toxicroak, and this is a Mud Shot Toxicroak. Okay, a pretty cool moveset from my opponent. Mud Bomb is going to secure the KO. I can send back in the Mandibuzz. Air Slash hitting for super effective damage. Toxicroak and opposing Mandibuzz are why I did decide to run Air Slash on my mandate. Air Slash, not the greatest move ever, but the coverage it provided felt very beneficial. I'm going to be firing off the Aerial Ace. That will get the KO in the back. It's a Carbink, and now it's time for SWALOT. Mud Shots hitting for super effective. The Sludge Bombs will be neutral. Opponent, go. Carbink is so bulky. Again, this meta is so bulky. If your opponent is running bulky stuff, and you're running bulky stuff, every game just drags on forever. I kind of wanted to run this team just as like to see what is possible, and oh my goodness, each game was absolutely, it just took forever. Oh my goodness. They're gonna fire off the Rock Slide. Look, that does nothing to SWALOT. I can make it to 2 more Sludge Bombs here, and that's gonna be game over. Sludge Bomb number 1 will connect. I go for Sludge Bomb number 2. Opponent has to shield this, and then it's time for Mandibuzz to flip the script and be a Carbink counter. In comes Mandibuzz. Mandibuzz farming up energy. Opponent firing on alignment and giving me an extra Air Slash for free. I shield the Rock Slide, throw in one more Air Slash, and going for the foul play. Carving the hard wall to Mandibuzz. Will get KO'd by a Mandibuzz with one Air Slash. We see a mirror lead in the next game, Mandibuzz versus Mandibuzz. As I mentioned, the Mandibuzz lead is one of the reasons why I did want to run Air Slash. Because with Air Slash, you do have some consistent passive pressure. The opponent will have a definite advantage in terms of being able to spam out charge moves faster, but faster pressure, and on top of that, it looks like we're getting CMP over my opponent's Mandibuzz, which is quite nice. I'm farming up, going for another aerial ace. Shift damage to my opponent's Mandy, but my goodness. As I mentioned, if both trainers in this cup are running teams this bulky, it's just timeout city. They go for the aerial ace, I'm able to tank that no problem, and they're at another one. There we see in real time that pacing advantage. Aerial ace will connect. I continue to farm. Opponent is going to send in Pawniard, and this is a bit of a problem. I'm going to send in Toxapex. I did give them quite a big energy lead, but I saved energy on them. Pawniard is a core breaker for this team, and this team is technically triple. I do have the SWALOT. Mud Shot, of course, for super effective damage, but the big issue there is the charge moves we have to do nothing. So I just send in the Toxapex. They're firing off Night Slash after Night Slash with the Pawniard, and I'm going for the grind. Not gonna KO, but does some solid damage. My opponent commits the shield. They are protecting the Pawniard, and now I'm going for Brine number 2. Brine number 2, we see the double shield from my opponent. They send in their Mandibuzz. They're trying to get the KO onto the Toxapex, but I'm able to survive that, so I can save it for later, bring back in the Mandibuzz, and I have back-to-back aerial aces loaded. Going for aerial ace number 1 and aerial ace number 2. This will get the knockout onto my opponent's Mandibuzz. Aerial ace number 2 gets the KO. Back in comes Pawniard. Pawniard firing off energy here. Night Slash will not KO. However, it will probably set up the perfect farm down for them. And now it's time for SWALOT. Let's see what SWALOT can do. Pawniard firing off the Night Slash. Do we see the boost? We do not. I continue to farm. I'm starting to shield. At this point, I shield something. I haven't used my shields yet. I still have the Toxapex for a potential catch. I decided to go for the Sludge Wave. This is just a mistake. I should always, sorry, the Sludge Bomb, not the Sludge Wave. In the back, it's in a Scavalier. Oh no, the Steel type in the back, and my energy is completely walled. I go for the Ice Beam, that just does nothing. I need to make a catch if I'm going to win this game. I try and go for the catch, but the game, unfortunately, does not let that happen. I farm up more, I get the catch, but the match timer's coming up, and I think I'm going to lose on timeout. Oh no! Because an Ice Beam will not KO from that health range, and my opponent takes the win. We see a great lead in the next match. Mandibuzz into Shadow Victory Bell. Opponent save switches into Galvantula. This is a problem Pokemon for the team, and I'm going to send in SWALOT. I'm going to let the first move through. Opponent does not go for the lunge. They go for the neutral discharge. I'm farming up with the SWALOT, going for the Sludge Bomb just before they're able to make their next charge move. Sludge Bomb will do quite a lot of damage here. Honestly, I'm a bit surprised to see Galvantula and not some Charjabug. I call the bait. It's the lunge. It's a massive call. Now, I'm debuff, but I didn't have to use a shield. Sludge Bomb is going to hurt. I'm going to get farmed down by the Galvantula. I'm going to send in Toxapex. Toxapex has better faster pressure here. Tough call to make. I'm going to shield. Surely it's not a lunge. And they lunge. You've got to be kidding me. I get the farm down with the Toxapex. In comes the Shadow Victory Bell. I'm farming up to the Sludge Wave, and I'm baiting with the Brine. Shadow Victory Bells love to shield everything, so I think this is a pretty safe bait, but they call the bait. Disaster strikes. I send in the Mandibuzz. Opponent in the back. They do have Charjabug, and I am extremely regretting that bait. Oh my goodness, that was a brave no-shield by my opponent. They go for the X-Scissor bait. X-Scissor, of course, only hitting for neutral, whereas Discharge hits for super effective. Foul play, will connect. I continue to farm with the Mandibuzz. Here I'm thinking, if they go for the X-Scissor, I think I live this on 1 HP. X-Scissor, I live it on 1 HP. Opponent not going for the discharge, may have given me a win con. Foul play, gets the blow. Toxapex gets the farm down. It's gonna be a race. Victory Bell versus Toxapex. Oh no, they have Acid Spray. They do not. It's Leaf Tornado, but I do not get debuffed. It's a race. Toxapex versus the Victory Bell, and Toxapex on 1 HP takes the win. All in all, I don't have many words to sum up this team, other than to say, wow, this team is absolutely gross when it comes to the bulk. It can just outlast teams, even if the teams have moves that can hit it for super effective damage. Like as we saw there, I'm running a flying and water core and beat 2 bug electric types. How? How is that a thing? So this is definitely, I would say, a showcase as to what I wish was not allowed in this map. I think the SWALOT is kind of a fun addition, but Mandibuzz and Toxapex just really, they end up sucking a lot of the fun, I would say, so to speak. So that's kind of the thesis behind the video, is just showing what is possible and why, personally, I'm not a big fan of these Pokemon being allowed in this game. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you, as always, to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. Thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.